star Matthew Perry has died.
Died as a result of, quote, acute effects of ketamine.
And the level of ketamine found in his blood was equivalent to the amount used for general anesthesia.
Multiple doctors, different types of people who traffic in these pills, especially for the famous. Friends who do this, who think they're helping. This becomes a culture.
Very easy for people to score drugs from physicians.
I didn't have illegal street drug dealers. All of my drug dealers were doctors.
You would trade swag for drugs in doctors' offices?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you actually be the one to go to the pharmacy and fill the prescription?
Yeah.
A 13-year-old?
In retrospect, when you say this now, it's so crazy.
I had smuggled drugs to Italy in my shoes, got into a fight with another cast member, and I ran my head into a cement wall.
Body brokers. They'll sit outside of AA meetings looking for weak and vulnerable people that they encourage to go and relapse so they can then pick you up again.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
That rehab centers will send people to AA meetings so they can entice them to do drugs again so they can go back into rehab?
Mm-hmm. And it's heartbreaking.
TMZ is reporting Friends star Matthew Perry has died at the age of 54.
Law enforcement sources tell TMZ this. The actor was found dead in a jacuzzi in an LA area home where it appears he drowned.
Friends co-stars are all slowly starting to share what they're feeling these days about Matthew Perry.
Oh God, don't make me cry. You're already crying. Do you want a minute? We don't have to talk about.
No, sorry, I just started thinking about.
I know. Yeah. Are you sure? We don't have to really.
No, I'm okay.
As other people have told me hundreds of times, it doesn't go away. It's with you every day. It's with you all the time. It was the news you never want to get, but you think someday you might.
Autopsy report just in from the Los Angeles Medical Examiner's Office reveals that Friends star Matthew Perry died as a result of, quote, acute effects of ketamine and subsequent drowning.
And the level of ketamine found in his blood was equivalent to the amount used for general anesthesia.
The ketamine queen, or as the U.S. attorney dubbed her, and I think they got that title from people around L.A., Jasveen Sangha, she has the title for a reason. They raided her home, and I am telling you, it is eye-popping what they found. They found coke, they found Xanax, they found meth, they found ketamine, they found ecstasy.
TMZ is now reporting that authorities have made multiple arrests in connection with the death of the Friends actor Matthew Perry.
5 individuals now charged in connection with the death of the Friends actor. 2 of them doctors, an alleged drug dealer known in some circles as the ketamine queen of North Hollywood, and his former personal assistant. Together, federal agents say they are part of a ring that Perry turned to as his addiction and depression grew worse.
Multiple doctors, different types of people who traffic in these pills, especially for the famous. Friends who do this, who think they're helping, or enablers in his midst. I mean, this becomes a culture. This becomes a personality. It's a lifestyle.
My name is Nick Matthews. I'm the CEO of Stillwater Behavioral Health and Summit Malibu Recovery Centers. By the time I was 20, I was strung out and financially and emotionally destitute and decided I didn't want the rest of my life to look like that. So I contacted a recovery center, much like the ones that I operate today, and I got on a plane. I came to Los Angeles. I was December 9th, 2013, and I've been sober ever since.
In your early stages of recovery, I understand that you attended AA meetings with Matthew Perry.
In my early recovery, I went to 3 meetings a day throughout West Hollywood. I would see Matthew Perry there, occasionally, and there was always a sense of melancholy. And it's understandable, right? It's difficult to exist like that, where everybody knows who you are just at a glance. I would just see him sitting by himself quietly in the back, while we're all having meaningful connection with one another, but not feeling comfortable with the same vulnerability that I had. But he very, very clearly had a circle of enablers. And that's always going to be true when you're at that level of celebrity. You have a group of people around you, yes men, enablers, that just get things done for you. And you could see that.
Iwamasa says he injected Perry the day he died at 8:30 a.m. and again at 12:45 p.m. Just 40 minutes later, the document says Perry told the defendant, "Shoot me up with a big one."
My name is Bill Bodner. I'm a retired DEA agent. I worked 32 years as a DEA agent, and I ended my career as a special agent in charge of the Los Angeles office. Ketamine is not approved by the FDA for use in treating depression, for use in treating addiction disorder, but it can absolutely legally be prescribed by that. Happens every day. But that's not intended for something outside of a clinic. It's not intended to be prescribed, dispensed, and taken home by somebody. And that's where this really went off the rails. It was greed. It was a greedy doctor willing to do something completely outside the scope of medical necessity just to make a buck.
Ketamine has a wonderful place in treating depression. I know people on a personal level that attest that ketamine treatments in the controlled setting by a licensed physician, administered correctly, saved their life. So if I then am a doctor, and I know that there's all this data, and I can hide behind the fact that, oh, there's a very legitimate use for these medications. Look, it's in a medical journal. Ketamine treats depression. Okay, sure. But you have a responsibility to treat ethically.
Kelly, one more smile this way, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Osborne. I am in recovery. I don't ever say I'm recovered because I don't believe that I ever will be. And it's something that I have to work at every single day. It's insane what has happened with this ketamine treatment. I am so against it. If you are an addict, that sort of treatment does not work for you. It is not a quick fix. It's not going to take you to the gates of hell and make you see yourself and come back to earth as a newborn person.
I found I got the same amount of juice from helping one guy as 100,000 people. And you see the light come on in their eyes and they start to come to life because of stuff that you've said. Yeah. And that's the dream come true.
He helped so many people. He helped me one day. I was 19 years old and I was in rehab for the first time and I just wanted to run. It wasn't clicking. I didn't get it. I'd never felt more insecure or hated myself more. He could see that I was struggling and he walked up to me and he gave me a chip and it said, "This 3 minutes." And he told me, if you can get through 3 minutes, you can get through anything. That chip got me through that day, which then got me through the next day, which then got me through the next day, and I'll never forget them.
Unfortunately, I'd have to admit, I think it's very easy for people to score drugs from physicians.
Did the California Medical Board ever get in touch with you to find out what happened to you?
No.
I'm sorry, that just blows my mind. So, with multiple doctors, in a contained area where everybody knows what's going on, and one doctor finally blows the whistle, the medical board still never got in touch with you to find out what had happened to you?
Never.
wide-ranging investigation. That investigation has revealed a broad, underground criminal network responsible for distributing large quantities of ketamine to Mr. Perry and others.
My name is Dr. Drew Pinsky. I'm an internist addictionologist. I ran a chemical dependency program at a freestanding psychiatric facility for nearly 25 years. The behavior was mind-boggling of the physicians who provided substances to Matthew Perry. It's mind-boggling, it's incomprehensible, but it happens. Something about taking care of a celebrity turns that caretaker on in a way that they don't maintain their usual judgment. And then if they're also a financial inducement, it's on.
One of the doctors, Dr. Mark Chavez, entered into a plea deal. The other doctor, Dr. Placencia, was just arraigned. He pled not guilty.
I'm Dr. Terry Dubrow. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon. I'm also a certified expert for the California Medical Board. Unfortunately, I'd have to admit, I think it's very easy for people to score drugs from physicians. Doctors, unfortunately, often want to curry favor with celebrities, as you're aware. And they will bend the rules. They will actually do things completely and wholly inappropriate to have celebrity clients, to be friends with celebrities, to try to get into the celebrity culture. And that's when things really can go south, as obviously happened in this situation.
Here's a thought. If the world's single most famous living drug addict, the one who had just written a book with the phrase, "the big terrible thing" in the title, the guy who more than anyone on earth came pre-advertised to be weak to the allure of drugs, if that guy comes to you for help, maybe don't give him more drugs.
At one point, I was going to like 6 different doctors. And I'd have them in New York and LA and London, so that when I ran out, I could call different ones to refill them for me.
Did any of them know, as far as you could see, that you were an addict?
I mean, it would be absolutely impossible for them not to have seen that I was an addict. With the amount that I was being prescribed.
Every drug addict knows a secret ring that they can hook up with, but celebrities more so than anyone. And it's not just a drug ring. There's also secret physician rings, and only certain doctors you should go to. And, you know, this one is the doctor of du jour. This is the one of the day. And all of it's bad. It's all bad.
So let's talk about the dirty little secret. Do doctors who are fueling the addiction of a patient, say a celebrity patient, do they know that they're not the only game in town for this addict, that they've gone to other people, but the doctor just plays the game?
This is really hard for me because we're suggesting that some physicians are sociopaths.
Yes.
And the reality is that we're just human beings, and so a certain number of us, we certainly know many of us are narcissistic, but a certain percentage are also sociopathic.
When you were addicted, was there chatter among circles of celebrities about which doctors are the easiest to score drugs?
Yes. There was. If you wanted an Adderall doctor, then I knew who to talk to. If it was opiates, then I also knew which people in Hollywood to go to find out who that new rock doc was.
So doctors kind of hold the keys to the kingdom. Tell me how doctors are a part of this problem.
Yeah, I've noticed it getting exponentially worse in recent years because of social media. You're starting to see doctors become celebrities themselves because of who their clientele are, right? Oh, you got to go see this plastic surgeon. He does all the Kardashians. Why does anybody know that? And I think that a lot of these doctors lose their way. They start to get caught up in their own agenda, their own celebrity.
My name is Brandon Novak. Some of you guys might recognize me from those movies Jackass.
I'm Brandon Novak, and this is Doo-Doo Falls.
shows Viva La Bam, skateboarder, interventionist, drug and alcohol treatment center owner. I'm a person in recovery.
My understanding is that you would go to doctors' offices with swag, and in return, they would give you drugs.
It's as corrupt as you could imagine. I'd walk in with all the swag that I've acquired from any events that I'd went to or anything that my sponsors had sent me. I'd let them think that one day I'll bring them up to the set and I'll bring them to the radio shows and they can kind of rub elbows with these celebrities. And they would let me cut the line. They would let me come back 2 weeks as opposed to 3 weeks. They'd refill my scripts.
So you would trade swag for drugs in doctors' offices?
Absolutely, yeah.
The holy grail of having the ultimate practice is to have celebrities come to you and celebrities talk about you. And once you get into the celebrity culture in your practice, then your practice blows up. Then you start hanging out with celebrities. Now you're blurring the lines between professionalism and, wanting to be friends and go to their parties.
We love you, Michael. You're the best. You're the best.
Dr. Arnie Klein, I think, is as responsible for Michael Jackson's death as Conrad Murray. He shot Michael Jackson up with Demerol every day for the last 3 months of his life. Arnie Klein did this with other celebrities, giving them drugs. So I understand that money is a big factor with doctors here, but also just the association that these doctors have with celebrities are also really important.
I understand the impulse. It is intoxicating. And it's so important to remember that these are just individuals. They're coming to you for a reason. For you to exploit that, there's a special place in hell I think you're reserving.
You were friends with him and you were best friends with him and you were also his doctor. There's a danger of blurring the line.
I don't have many friends, you know that. My friends are my patients. My patients are my patients 24 hours a day.
I'm Debbie Rowe. I worked for Dr. Arnie Klein for 27 years, and I'm very familiar with the medications that he gave some patients.
We're going to put this right over here, and you go very slowly, and take your time.
There was one instance that a patient was having a party, and when I went to the party with him, you walk in and there's a candy dish that has Percocet, Percodan, or some other medication to take.
So this was a celebrity who was throwing a party, and Klein supplied these drugs?
Yes.
Why did he go?
Do you want my personal opinion?
Yep.
To hobnob with the rich and famous.
Why don't doctors go to the medical board and say, that guy is a bad actor, investigate him?
Doctors are afraid that if we report a physician to the medical board, that we could be subject to claims of defamation of character or slander, and that we could find ourselves embroiled in a lawsuit.
Defendant Placentia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
That doctor's statement about Matthew Perry being a moron is so egregious. It's such an egregious statement about any patient. It nauseates me.
Did the California Medical Board ever get in touch with you to find out what happened to you?
No. Never.
That is shocking.
I think it is too.
I'm sorry, that just blows my mind. So, with multiple doctors in a contained area where everybody knows what's going on and one doctor finally blows the whistle, the medical board still never got in touch with you to find out what had happened to you?
Never. And the thing is that I wasn't doing anything technically illegal. They were.
Do you think Matthew Perry's death, especially where 2 doctors were indicted, has scared the medical community into playing by the rules?
Short term, yes. But they have a short memory, Harvey. Don't forget, we saw the same thing with opiates, muscle relaxers, benzos. A doctor gets arrested. They all say, ooh, let me look at what I'm doing and make sure it's okay. And then little by little, they slip down that hill again and go right back to their old prescribing habits. When there's money to be made or when there's the potential lure of celebrity, that's what's causing this diversion outside of ethical bounds.
It feels almost impossible when there are so many enablers in the given individual life. And sometimes the celebrities are duplicitous in all of it. They'll dismiss anyone that sort of confronts them or wants to deal with it.
Get me this or I'll fire you.
Right, you're just dismissed.
6,000 AA meetings, therapy 30 years, 15 rehabs, maybe at least. Half of your life in treatment or in sober living houses. He has been in detox, he estimates, 65 times.
Does it make it harder for a celebrity struggling with addiction to stay clean when you have all these people around you who become yes people, who will do what you want, especially in a moment of weakness?
Absolutely, it does. I do not surround myself with yes people. If you're not going to tell me the truth about me, I don't have the time for it, because it is so toxic and it is so insane to live around people who just placate you.
Matthew. Stay flight. Matthew Perry was a chronic relapser. And when he was in a program, he was supported by people there. But when he was outside the program, he started hiring people from the outside, and that's where it became problematic.
I would see that. He has very clearly had a circle of enablers. And that's always going to be true when you're at that level of celebrity. You have a group of people around you, yes men, enablers, that just get things done for you. And you could see that. I don't think that Matthew Perry knew how to keep himself safe. And when he is the guy writing the checks and dictating what he needs, all of these individuals just say yes.
What about Matthew's live-in assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, who took a plea deal to potentially avoid a 15-year prison sentence? He admitted shooting up the actor at least 3 times on the day Matthew died.
Harvey, it feels almost impossible when there are so many enablers in the given individual life. And sometimes the celebrities are duplicitous in all of it. They'll dismiss anyone that sort of confronts them or wants to deal with it.
Get me this or I'll fire you.
Right, you're just dismissed. I mean, I remember Deepak Chopra confronted Michael Jackson. He was never allowed to speak to him again. That was years before he died. That could have saved his life.
He knows that. Sorry, Captain.
After I'd written my first book, I didn't stay sober. And, you know, my loved ones would put me out. They'd say, you know, we can't do this anymore. You have to go. So I'd then attract 2 other like-minded people who were like, oh, you're that guy from those movies, Jackass. You're the man. And they would take me in. They would kind of win my friendship over by supplying me, you know, what I'm always in search of, which is more drugs and alcohol.
I was desperate and begging for drugs because the only way I had to feel better.
Recovery is supposed to be hard. And if I have a group of people in my life that I'm paying to make my life easy, their natural impulse, their response is always going to be to make things easier for me.
It is the year 2000, and he's the star of the #1 sitcom on TV.
At the time, I should have been the toast of the town. I was in a dark room meeting with nothing but drug dealers and completely alone.
I've never met anybody that was rainbows and sunshine all the way through. It's painful. It's emotionally painful. It's physically painful. And I think it's supposed to be. I earned every day of sobriety that I have. Nobody made it easier for me. There was nobody around to protect me from myself. And I think that's where a lot of people, like you said, that have the means to cultivate this little world that's isolated from everything else, that's where they miss the point, and that's where they struggle.
Would you actually be the one to go to the pharmacy and fill the prescription?
Yeah.
A 13-year-old?
In retrospect, when you say this now, it's so crazy.
When I had smuggled drugs to Italy in my shoes, I got into a fight with another cast member, and I rammed my head into a cement wall, not knowing it was cement, because I was going through withdrawal in front of the world watching.
Where do I begin? I got my tonsils removed when I was 13 years old, and they gave me a medicine that, for the first time in my life, made me feel like I was okay. Like I belonged, like it was something that gave me this great big warm hug. It was the answer to what I was looking for. And I didn't know at the time, but what I was looking for was to be numb. It started out with the medicine for my tonsils being removed, and then I figured out how I could get that medicine all the time. And that was through doctors. I didn't have illegal street drug dealers. All of my drug dealers were doctors. Every single time.
Kelly, they are giving a young teenager the pills to become an addict?
Oh, yeah. But I was a very good actress as well. I would feign a lot of pain, and I mean, I learned at a very young age how to get what I wanted from them.
But still, you are 13 and 14 years old. Whether you're a good actress or not, doctors are giving you the tools to become a drug addict.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
My name is Mike the Situation Sorrentino. I'm a husband, father, author, and champion of addiction and reality TV legend.
As far as I know, everybody loves the situation. And if you don't love the situation, I'll make you love the situation.
I started out experimenting with opiates when I was around 19. And a friend of mine, they had these pills, and that they were yellow, and they called them bananas on the street, and that he could get his hands on a couple of them. I try it, and I'll be honest with you, I fell in love, and that was a 10 milligram Percocet. And that is really where the love of opiates and my relationship with the devil started. After, let's just say, a few years of experimenting and now being addicted on the substance of oxycodone, my girlfriend at the time, we were dating for about 4 years. She wants to leave me because everything was just totally destroyed. So that's when I decided to go to rehab for the first time.
So you're from a very famous family. And when you went to doctors, did that become part of their calculation in giving you these drugs to ingratiate themselves with celebrities?
I can't say with 100% certainty, but it very much felt that way.
What kind of drugs?
It started off with Vicodin, ended up with Oxycontin, which is a lot stronger and very dangerous.
So they never questioned you, challenged you?
No. Never.
They just gave you drugs?
I would say that I was in pain and they just wrote me a prescription.
Did they ever call your mom or dad and say, what's going on here?
No. They didn't. I mean, not to my knowledge anyway.
Would you actually be the one to go to the pharmacy and fill the prescription?
Yeah.
A 13-year-old?
I go with an older friend or, yeah. In retrospect, when you say this now, it's so crazy because there's no way a 13-year-old will be able to go into a pharmacy and just pick up this kind of medication without having a parental figure there in some way.
Now, if the outfit is not looking good, then the whole package is off. And if you feel off, you're not going to have a good night. So how do you get the best results? GTL, baby. Tintan Laundry.
Let's now go to Jersey Shore. So they cast you on the show. When they cast you, were you clean?
First season, I was just drinking, and I was proud that I just drank. But once they gave us that big raise and the big negotiation in season 2, I took that a little too far and drank a little bit of my own Kool-Aid. And I'm like, okay, you guys, wait till you get a load of me now.
Padres, you better be locking up your bambinas because the situation's looking FTZ tonight, and this is the first night out, and you better believe it's going to be a good night.
And then it really came to a head in season 5 when I had smuggled drugs to Italy in my shoes, and then I ran out of those said drugs. And I got into a fight with another cast member, and I rammed my head into a cement wall, not knowing it was cement, because I was going through withdrawal in front of the world watching.
You want to do it? You want to do it? Yeah, you want to do it?
That I got a letter from MTV that said if you didn't address this issue and come back, the situation that we know and love from season 1, then don't come back. And I took it very seriously at that time.
What'd you do?
I went to rehab in 2012.
Right here, please.
I'm going on 9 years clean and sober, December 24th of this year.
How does sobriety feel?
Oh my God, I feel like a superhero because sobriety is so hard for everyone, and I feel that if I can do sobriety, I can do anything. It's my superpower. And also why I recover so loudly is because people see my story and they say, listen, if Mike the Situation can do it, he was one crazy SOB. I can too.
So you're about to open your own rehab center. Tell me about it.
Yeah, over the past year, I've had the opportunity to partner with folks to open up treatment centers across the country. The first center being in New Jersey, rightfully so. The name of the center is going to be Archangel Centers, and that would make me Saint Michael, and I'm the Archangel.
Body brokers. They'll sit outside of AA meetings looking for weak and vulnerable people that they encourage to go and relapse so they can then pick you up again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rehab centers will send people to AA meetings so they can entice them to do drugs again so they can go back into rehab?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to believe.
I swear on everything that it's true.
Experiences and years of conversations with other addicts has led me to believe that most of these places are pieces of anyway. They're hell-bent on taking advantage of sick, needy people and cashing paychecks. The whole system is corrupt and completely up. Take it from me. I'm an expert. I've poured millions of dollars into this system.
You've been to rehab 7 times. Did you ever see situations where people who were there with you were actually using the time to figure out how to create a new drug network once they got out?
Yeah. First rehab I went to was like university on how to be a better drug addict.
What do you mean?
I learned so many tricks, so many things that I never even thought of from my fellow addicts that were in there. But I'd also seen people threaten to leave until they got given what they wanted. whether it be Ambien for sleep or Valium for nerves, they would somehow end up getting it.
So the rehab facility is faced with either give me the drugs or I'm going to leave and you're going to lose your $100,000.
Mm-hmm. And they end up giving them whatever it is they've asked for.
A celebrity who's paying upwards of $100,000 a month in a facility and then goes in and says, you know, I need to get some marijuana to just kind of, you know, tamp down the anxiety or give me a Valium. And then there are certain facilities that start to calculate and say, I'm going to lose this guy, I'm going to lose $100,000, and there aren't that many people paying it. So is there a tug there among some rehab centers to actually enable an addict to keep the addiction going?
Generally, I am flabbergasted by the money that people spend and charge in treatment. If you're spending a lot of money in treatment, you're in the wrong program. It shouldn't cost that much. And if somebody is spending a fortune, then I worry about there being adulterated influences on behalf of the program that is collecting those funds.
Explain what that means.
They shouldn't be charging that in the first place. If you gratify a patient, you are engaging in the massaging of the illness, not treating it. We certainly do not want to gratifying with a medication, gratifying with special privileges, gratifying with beautiful environments. I take issue with that. This is a serious illness that requires serious treatment, and there are cost-effective ways to deliver it. And if we're gratifying the patient and charging a ton of money, I am very concerned about it.
Matthew Perry met the ketamine queen in a rehab facility along with Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, who also happened to be best friends with the guy who was the broker for the drug. She cooperated with authorities and actually led them to her then best friend, among others. So the fact that they all met in rehab, when you think about it, is really shocking.
I just shudder to think how I would have felt had the so-called ketamine queen been in my treatment center and I not know it. I not realize that's who that was, and she had access and infected and damaged patients. When you run a treatment center, you have to keep the environment safe for the patients, not just for the individual. And somebody dropped the ball.
Well, prosecutors say she was involved in another OD death back in 2019.
Cody McLaury died of an overdose 5 years ago after allegedly taking ketamine he bought from Jasveen Sangha, the so-called ketamine queen.
And yet she kept going.
She kept going. I don't know what this was, or my poor little brain can't process this. I mean, the degree to which she harmed other people is wild and like nothing I've ever seen.
Body brokers. They'll sit outside of AA meetings looking for weak and vulnerable people that they encourage to go and relapse so they can then pick you up again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Rehab centers will send people to AA meetings so they can entice them to do drugs again so they can go back into rehab?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to believe.
I swear on everything that it's true. And it's heartbreaking.
Were you surprised by Matthew Perry's death?
It's devastating, but at the same time, he was an addict. And you can't be shocked when an addict passes away. Because that's part of the course. It ends in 3 places: jails, institutions, or death.
I say in the book that if I did die, it would shock people, but it wouldn't surprise anybody.
Were you surprised when you heard Matthew Perry died?
I wasn't, because I know he was battling addiction for so long, and unfortunately it's so hard to stay sober. Just the cases I've seen, right, the people I've seen battle addiction, it's so hard to win and so hard to stay sober that the expectation is almost like sooner or later the devil's going to get you.
I wish I could say that I was surprised by his death. I was shocked because he's like the last kind of person you'd ever want to have this kind of life. When you think about how much pain he must have been in, it's devastating, but at the same time, he was an addict, and you can't be shocked when an addict passes away, because that's part of the course. It ends in 3 places: jails, institutions, or death.
I hate to say this, I'm almost never surprised when I hear about a celebrity death anymore. I think a lot of these guys, it's just a matter of time. And I think it's only a matter of time for a lot of people. You know, we have 108,000 overdose deaths a year from fentanyl and all these other things. A handful of them are, of course, going to be public figure and celebrities. Unless something changes, it's going to continue to happen as well.
The thing that always makes me cry, and I hope I don't cry here, is that it's not there. I had to fight this, and still have to fight this. So just to end this on a good note, there are people that will help you, and get their help. It doesn't go away. It never goes away.